Fields of Eternia has made it to America. Let's check it out. Alright, welcome back to the Meeple Marathon. Today we're going to be doing an unboxing of Masters of the Universe Fields of Eternia. Now, quick disclaimer. Archon Studios has not, changed their policy as to who they can ship to or anything like that. This was purchased by myself from a secondhand source. The box it arrived in, originally came from Poland, so... but you are starting to see these on the secondhand market, things like eBay and places like that. People who have gotten over a case full and are selling them on eBay, or people who are in the EU and are willing to ship to America. So there are ways to get this game. You're probably paying a premium at this point. This setup wasn't too bad, considering what this was an all-in pledge is worth. So. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure you guys knew that this is a special case. This is still not available in the United States, but there are ways to track it down. After our unboxing video, we will be doing a series of videos comparing this to Clash for Eternia, which is the US version by CMON of the Masters of the Universe board game. So, everything looks pretty good. This box, some of the corners are a little smushed, which is understandable. It's made a trip from Poland to Indiana, I believe, and then Indiana to here, or Illinois, one of those northern states. The one box that did look like it could have been packaged a little better, unfortunately, was my Castle Grayskull Dice Tower, which I'm easily the most excited about. Hopefully that one survived. Because again, I purchased this secondhand, so if something's broken, I'm just kind of out of luck. All right. Let's see, just black on the inside. So, Fields of Eternia is a dudes on a map style game, as opposed to the pure skirmish game that CMON's version is. Now, there is battle. You're going to control main characters. This one, however, has little busts of minis that follow you around as soldiers. There's a much larger map. I do like the look of this map a lot better, but the other one serves a purpose of being a hex grid for skirmishes. So here is the rule book. I have read through the online version. It's okay. I think the rules are more than they need to be. In my opinion, they could have streamlined this game a little bit and just made it more pure fun, as opposed to trying to do too much. So we'll see. I think this game has a lot of promise, and house rules. I've never been afraid to house rules things in the past. This one does have an AI in it. I have seen mixed reviews on the AI. There's mixed reviews on the AI for CMON. Personally, I started implementing my own AI rules, but I can still play Masters of the Universe. I think that's the most important thing here, is that this is my favorite IP from my childhood, and here I am getting to play, experience it all over again. All right, so here is the mission booklet. This is not a campaign game, but they give you various different missions to set up. Especially here you have solo and co-op missions. So you can play solo, you can also play cooperatively. And it basically tells you where these little quest tokens go, and there's going to be specific decks of cards in here that you will draw from when you read those specific quests. So I personally am looking forward to this. The skirmish mode is fun in CMON, but it doesn't capture that adventurous nature of the He-Man always finding something to cross Eternia to take on. All right, and here is a very large, and I believe, no, not double-sided. I thought it was going to be double-sided due to player count, but yeah, let's take a look at this giant thing now. Alright, so here is most of the map in the shot. It is a large board. This is going to be a table hog of a game. This is a large 6-fold board here, 6 pieces, all folds out. You see down here there is a time track, so there is a limited number of rounds to the game. It just does not go on infinitely. And there's a day and a night, so different things happen, and also the skulls is where certain events happen depending on which scenario you're playing. A few things to point out here is that there's areas with a building or a picture of something, and then there's the areas in between that you can step into, and there's like these what looks like the Great Wall of China or these little dotted marks. So I believe the areas with a picture are all inside what looks like kind of a wall, and then the dotted lines differentiate again. Well, here's some dotted lines, and here's these. I think maybe this allows you to fast travel. Again, I'm not 100% sure, but I do know that these areas that don't contain a picture are considered the wilds. So you're going to run into different things, and I think this is an interesting concept of the game, is that when you enter the wilds, you can take on an event, and that event may be a wild beast that you can defeat or tame. It may be just a random event, or it may be something that is either an ally to you, or an ally to your opponent, and then you have to fight them. So you may go into the woods as He-Man and run into Orko. Well, then you can just do whatever you need to do to get him over to your side, or wave to him, say have a good day. But if you run into, say, Whiplash, you're going to have to fight Whiplash. Whereas if they run into Orko, they're going to have to fight Orko. So I do really like just how this map looks with all the little pop-ups of these various things. Obviously, Castle Grayskull and... wasn't Temple of Serpos? Is this where Slime Pit Horde Factory works? It's not. This is not accurate though, technically, because the Horde was on an entirely different planet. Anyways, there are these 3 regions here. These towers: Central Tower, Grayskull Tower, and Viper Tower. You can actually kind of fast travel in between these. Then you'll notice some of these other locations have these little symbols underneath. If we scoot this down here, you can see that there is a little icon. So path, outpost, border, flight path, and Ethereum. Anyways, these locations with symbols on them, if you control them, you can purchase certain items from them. So like this would be a forge. You can, where's the red one? So here you could get weapons from Foe Castle. Mage Guild, you can get spells, and shop, you can get other stuff. So again, this is kind of a dudes on the map style game with some other stuff added in. And then over here, if we scroll down here, we have Dragon Tower, Land of the Giants, Mount Eternium, and then there's like this spaceport over here, futuristic stuff. So yeah, there is the large map, which is a little bit bigger than the mat for Simon, but again, I'm not going to try and do a lot of comparisons here. This is hopefully just going to be an unboxing video. All right, we got our core box back here. So we have a bunch of these tokens. This is the currency of the game, Eternium. I honestly don't remember that being a thing in the comic or the cartoon, but I also guess they didn't really spend money. So I guess this is okay. Maybe someday down the road they'll make some nice plastic tokens or something like that. But these are victory point markers, and then this is how you track damage. Some more damage markers, and then they have these here. These are your various factions. So this is Skeletor's faction, this is He-Man's faction, and then these are your weapon icons, which I believe should be double-sided. Yes. So you've got like sword on this side and ranged on this side. Here you've got sword and magic, and here you've got ranged and magic. So at the beginning of every battle, you're going to have to determine which weapon you're going to yield. Most heroes have at least 2, and that's going to make a difference as to what you can do. And then there's these boards here, and this is an interesting system. This is a card-based system, so there's no dice. Well, there is dice rolling in this game, but not when you and another hero are taking on combat. you're actually playing cards from a battle deck or attack deck that you can manipulate. So as you defeat foes in the wild or take on allies, you're going to be able to cull out poor cards and put in better cards into your battle deck. But you're basically playing cards secretly, up to four down here. And this one represents initiative, this one represents defense, and this one represents attack. So you're revealing a card and you're deciding which column to put it in, and then once each of you have four down, you're going to flip them all over. I'll touch on this in my review. I feel like it's a really nice system, but the way the full rules for it really slow down the game, because it's like, okay, you draw a card, I draw a card, you draw a card, I draw a card. And if you're playing this 3-player, which you can technically play this 4-player, and you just teams, you split up, who's who. Actually, you can play it up to 6 players, because each side should have 3 heroes. But you can play it with up to 3 factions, which would be the most easiest way to keep everybody involved. But if 2 factions are battling the third one in the playthrough videos I've seen, the person not involved in the battle is just sitting there watching you guys draw cards, and it can get rather boring. All right, so another battle board. So each person has one. Here's the day-night round tracker. Quest tokens get put out, and these, I'm assuming, have to do something with Evil Seed, something like that. Let's see. And yep. Oh, I didn't even notice. That's what the back of the battle board looks like. Alrighty. So we have a whole bunch of stuff to look at here. And these are nice, thick. I like that. Okay, these are like cardboard. It's essentially the same artwork on the back, but I like that these are not just cardstock. All right, so let's just take a look here at our main man, He-Man here. So there's some obvious stuff on here, and some stuff that I only know because I have read through the rules, but he's with this faction, so this is the Masters of the Universe faction versus the bad guys. Here's his health. That's pretty straightforward. Here's his initiative value, which is the only one that you add to this battle mat. He doesn't have a base attack or defense value, which to me seems odd that they have a base initiative value but not one of the other ones. He has a movement speed, okay? And here are his 2 weapons that he can wield. So you choose at the beginning of the battle. Are you going in with the Sword of Power or with an energy blast, which isn't really a weapon, but that's fine. And then he has this passive ability down here. Now there's 2 other symbols up here that might not make sense. One is your body number, and the other one is your intuition number or focus number or something like that. Basically your mind and your body. The mind one looks like Evil Lyn, and the body one looks like just some kind of buff torso. The body one is how many dice you get to roll when you take on something in the wilds. And so the wilds, when we see those cards, you basically just roll dice and you determine, all right, I have to get through their shields first, and then am I going to lower their attack so I take less damage, or am I going to lower their health to take them out? Somewhere in between, based on how many successes you're rolling. So the more dice you get to roll, the better. But you see, most of these guys have 7. So why didn't they just say everybody rolls 7 dice or to start off with, and then you can add bonuses to that with allies? And then there's this, which allows you to, when you're this intellect value, when you're playing your battle cards, when you draw one, if you don't like what you drew, if you want to discard it, He-Man here can do that once a round, whereas like She-Ra here can do it twice. Man at Arms can do it twice. So this essentially is the hero tablets, whatever you want to call these things, hero cards in a nutshell. So let's just pull all these out and then we'll put them all up on camera. I do think the artwork's pretty good here. It's definitely not the, we'll do that right there. It's definitely not the artwork from the 80s cartoon. This appears to be all artwork from the DC comics of Masters of the Universe. So let's look at the rest of the Masters now. So there's a man at arms. So he's got ranged or his mace, his melee weapon. Here is Tila, daughter of man at arms. So like this image right here, I'm perfectly fine with He-Man. I'm perfectly fine with the man at arms image, but this is not Tila. Who drew that face? They should be ashamed of themselves. She just looks weird. We've got Stratos, who has, in my opinion, become increasingly more popular in the current cartoons, more popular than I remember him being. Ram Man, who was always a toy favorite of mine because you push him down, he would spring up, and then She-Ra, the long-lost twin of He-Man. And then we have the bad guys. So there is Skeletor himself, and his kind of, I guess, I don't know, who would be his man at arms? Trapjaw? Probably. And then, Evil Lyn would be his Tila. And then I don't really know where the rest of these guys would fit in here. I guess Ram Man, big, burly, beastie fella. Maybe, he would probably, Merman here would probably be Stratos' equivalent. Air, water, they work in different mediums. And then I guess this is She-Ra. She-Ra needs Hordak. And we'll see Hordak here in a little bit. But there is again, I really like that those are like nice thick cardboard. Okay. Decent organization here. Place for those cardboard things to sit. Ooh, look at those dice. I do like those big chunky dice I see. However, this lid is not easy to come off. And there's a spot right here, a little cutout. I'm not quite sure what is supposed to go in there. But you know what else I'm not seeing? Beyond that is any other way to store stuff. So this stuff, you're going to want to go back into these spots, right? And it even shows you, well, that's a symbol for that. Yep, pawns. These, I guess, this is meant to hold all of your things, and this is meant to hold all of your dice. So I don't know. This whole setup looks like it's aching for a storage solution. So we will be doing that at some point. All right. Let's look at some plastic here. So here are your dice. Each side gets a dice. Now, here is Skeletor's dice, obviously. Purple. Same dice, just different color. Each side gets their own. Why did we go with khaki colored for He-Man? I mean, we could have gone with yellow. We could have gone with green, like Castle Grayskull green. We could have even gone with that like burgundy color his loincloth is. But no. Or white even. We went with this color, which I know matches their miniature plastic color here, but come on, guys. Come on. Anyways, you have single successes and double successes. And then you have this one, which is interesting because I like how they've done this one as well. So say you roll out your dice and you've got, well, they're all falling into place, but let's just say this is your roll, right? Well, you're going to pull these two out because these are good dice. These are successes. And then you've got some misses, but now you've got these re-rolls. Well, when you re-roll, you get to take this one and choose any one other dice. So maybe if these were all doubles, you would re-roll one of these, but you would then re-roll this one and this one, hoping that they hit again, and so on and so forth, until you've decided you've removed all your re-roll symbols and locked up your dice. We're going to get these back out when we talk about Wilds combat, which I really like how they've done the Wilds combat. And then these are, I'm not sure if these are exclusively for solo, but you will use them. I think these come in Epic Wild combat, but this is basically like almost like representing the cards. So I'm wondering if there is a way, especially solo, if we can utilize these to speed up the game a little bit. But I like it. I like the size of these. Those are nice. And so we've got purple dice. We've seen that. These are your little, essentially soldiers that you can follow around. Will follow you around on the map, can control territories. You can send into battle for quick, one-off hits. But there you go. So little Eternian soldiers for the Masters side, and for this side, we have the hover bots. So those are a little harder to see, but so I like that. I like how these are smaller, don't take up as much room. Could paint them, could not, could go either way. All right, let's take a closer look at some of these minis now. Here are all the cards that are in the core box. So we have our kind of mini Euro size cards here. This is the majority of them are this size. And then all of your kind of encounter cards are going to be this size. So here we have some scenario specific cards, and you can see they are labeled as such on the back. So I'm not going to show off these because that could be a little spoilerish. All right, then you have your basic encounters. So this deck, the rest of this deck is just going to be shuffled up here and drawn at random. So if you're a Masters, you can see this symbol up here. Buzz Off would be an ally for you. You pay 2 Eternium and he comes to your side, and you get this bonus here at the bottom. Whereas Clawful, he can go for any of the, you see these are the 2 other bad factions, which is interesting because they plan on having expansion content for this game. I guess there's really only ever going to be the Masters as the good faction, which I guess kind of makes sense. But are they ever going to introduce a bad faction? If so, do these cards become irrelevant? Or the Green Tiger here, if you meet him in the wilds, he can go to anybody. So that's interesting. But not all of these are people that you will run into. Sometimes it's just an event here. So again, you're going to come across things like Slebator the Slugman here, or Spilleen, who you just have to fight. You're going to come across things like this that you can tame. So it's a beast. Okay, these are all beasts. Yeah, beasts or allies or events. And your ally could either be somebody you have to fight off, or somebody you can bring in as an ally, depending on your faction. So while we're here, let's just say we run into Skeletor as in the wilds, and we have to attack him. So what we're going to do here is pick out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dice, because that's probably what his stat is, and we're just going to roll these out. All right, so in this instance, I would be able to take, say, these and roll, and maybe just, I don't have to pick other ones, and so there we go, and now I'm out of rerolls. So that one's dead. I now have 1, 2, 3, 4 doubles, or 2 doubles and 4 singles. Buzz Off here has an attack of 2, he has a defense of 3, and a health of 4. So I have to get through his defense to get to his health. If I defeat him, then I get this a +2 card into my battle deck. He's going to hit me for 2 though, but I can block that. So what I could do here is say spend a 2 to block his attack. All right, and I can't split these up. These doubles have to stay. So I could spend a 2 and a single, all right, to block his shields, but then I'm only left with 3 to take him down to nothing. So, what do we do? Maybe I want to change that. Maybe I'm willing to take him out and take a little damage. So we're pretty much going to stick these with the shields. Now, I like this setup, but there is no way to like keep track of where you're putting this stuff other than just simply saying this is what I'm going to do. So you could do this. Now this is going to take him out. He's still hitting me back, so I put 1 against his attack. Now he only hits me for 1, but I have defeated Buzz off. So this is how the dice combat works in the wilds, which I really like how quick it is, how straightforward and simple it is. It's just 3 numbers up here that you're trying to hit, match, overcome. That's it. All right, this whole big stack of cards here is the, here's the, this is the AI deck here. Then this is combat cards. So you can see here is the, these are like cards that do other things. And then there's going to be some basic cards like +3 here. So this will add +3 to whatever column you put it in, initiative, defense, or attack. Again, it's weird to me that there is no base value if this is a plus. There's a base initiative value, but not a base attack or defense value. It seems really odd to me. Also, the initial version of this game that hit Kickstarter and went to people to initially preview had this as an X, but it was meant to be a plus. Very confusing when you're reading through the rule book. So we've got a combat deck here, and there's a starter combat deck, and then there's a combat deck you can pull from. So you'll notice that this is a pretty big stack of cards here. You're only ever going to have 21 cards in your combat deck. And then these are all effect cards, which I'm not 100% sure. I think these may go along with the AI because they have that gear symbol in the back. Then we have combat cards for the masters. They're going to look very similar. And then we have our spells. So these are powerful one-off things that you can buy if you control a certain region, and they basically just, do various things. Last but not least, and some of these I wish were the full-size ones, this is going to be your items that you can add. You can purchase and add. So I really wish like the attack track was on a big size card, because that's a great piece of artwork, or the battle ram, which I remember owning. I wish they were this size, but some really awesome stuff. So this is one thing that this game does that the CMON version as of yet does not do. Vehicles. And there were some very iconic vehicles in that Masters of the Universe game. Strider technically is in the game, but so you get past the vehicles. Now we've got some armor, so battle damage, armor, and then a consumable, artifacts, consumables, shields, that type of armor, and just all sorts of stuff. Consumables, obviously, you use one time and then you're done, and the other stuff you hold on to. The last set of cards here we're going to look at, and that's going to be it for the core box, are your victory condition cards. So when playing multiplayer, you're each going to be dealt one of these, and I think if you complete both of them, you can gain another one. But this is a unique victory condition that you are keeping secret from your other opponent. I guess it's one per hero. Anyways, you basically, once you have reached the top one, you flip it over and give yourself a victory point. Once you've reached the bottom one, you get yourself a second victory point. And obviously, whoever has it's either first to 10 or whoever has the most after a certain number of rounds, I believe. And that's the victory conditions. All right, so that is the core box. Let's take a look at the stretch goals next. Up next, we have the stretch goals box. So the stretch goals box is essentially just a bunch more heroes, villains, lots of heroes, and there is even a bonus villain for the Spell of Separation, which is essentially Hordak, and Rise of the Snake Ments here, so Tongue Lasher and Mantenna. And then we've got Whiplash, Faker, and Scareglow for the Skeletor faction, and then lots of Masters of the Universe. So let's take a look at these here. Yeah, and some ally cards. So here we go. Here is more of the, what I just really like, the cardboard trays here for the heroes. So we've got Queen Grayskull, which is essentially the sorceress. I would assume. It looks like the sorceress. I don't know Queen Grayskull. Anyways, King Grayskull. This is He-Man's predecessor. Mechanic, Fisto. These are all classics. Hero and then Hero 2. So I think this is kind of a throwback to where they took He-Man into space. And then Hero was supposed to be in a line of toys that it was supposed to be like the third season, then it was eventually canceled, and so we never really saw Hero. But we've got Tongue Lasher and Mantenna here, and then we have Clamp Champ, Faker, Manny Faces, my personal favorite, and Buzz Off. Last but not least, Whiplash and Scareglow. So, place to store all of these. I'm liking this storage stuff here. I'm not liking how difficult these lids are to come off, though, which is a little annoying. So, yeah, let's just quickly look here at these. These are just kind of ally cards, essentially, encounters to add in to the mix. So we've got MODOK here, or Modolok, the two-headed guy. Which is interesting. He's got 2 and 4. So you gain various things. Eldor here. Andra, she's, I think, the one that comes from Earth, crash lands, and then that's when He-Man learns that his mom, the Queen of Eternia, is actually from Earth, and Stinkor. So there's the cards. Let's take a look at some of the miniatures here. All right, here is technically the final stretch goal. So Castle Grayskull Dice Tower was the ultimate stretch goal. And it's a little weird that this instruction manual isn't inside the box. Obviously, this looks like a pretty epic dice tower is going to need to be pieced together. Now, there was a little bit of smushing in the box. I'm hoping you guys are going to witness me opening this just like I am. I'm hoping that it's not just torn to pieces here. But let's see here. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, everything appears to be intact. This is like completely on sprues. But first thing right off the bat, this is very hefty plastic here. So we've got that going for us. So I'm actually pretty hopeful here that everything is intact. Man. Okay, these look broken off, but I'm assuming these are meant to be broken off. This doesn't look like it's part of anything. So this is going to have to take some assembly. Obviously, I'm not going to be doing it right now. But there's the face of Grayskull. The dice come out of here, and then they're going to end up in here. So this kind of catches the dice. And you're going to stick them in, I think up here, yeah. So this piece comes off here. Like this is broken off right there, but that's perfectly fine. That was meant to come off the whole time. So nothing critical appears to be broken, which is good. So yeah, unfortunately, I thought this was like maybe 2 or 3 pieces here. So there are these 2 pieces down here, but one of them looks like simply a support, and the other one does look like a peg, which might have been critical somewhere. Looks like one of these. So I might have lost one peg, maybe like right there. I don't know. But this is something, this is not the end of the world here. So I think we can fix this. I'm not quite sure where this came out of. I can't tell. Maybe right here actually. Yeah. Looks like right there. So I think we can make this work without this tiny little peg. This looks like just supports. This looks like supports. So I think we're okay. But there's the stretch goal. So ladies and gentlemen, have no fear. If you order this, it's pretty sturdy. So there we go. I'm gonna put the put together instructions along with it, and we're just gonna push this off to the side. All right, before we get into the 2 expansions, let's just take a quick look at Orko here. Orko was an add-on. I can't remember. Again, I did not back this campaign officially because it was not available to me. So I'm not sure if Orko here was like a first 24 hours bonus here, first 48 hours bonus, or whether he was just a pure add-on. But always excited to get Orko into the mix. So here we have a card, pre-punch. Let's see what he does. Magic trick. Enemy heroes cannot use spells this round. Interesting. And then his sword, wand hit. Gain +X attack, where X is Orko's body value, which is 5, minus his... okay, so right now it would be 5 minus 4. So if he can figure out a way to increase his body, it's a maximum of 3. So, yeah, who knows? All right, so here is Orko's miniature. He's definitely on the smaller side. But decent. We'll show off what his miniature looks like compared to the others. But we have a few extra cards here. And then this, I don't know what that's for, but... or it's just one card. Let's see what his one card is here. The Mighty Spectre. It's an ally for the Masters. When this hero is defeated, you can discard the Mighty Spectre card to cancel this effect and keep this hero with 1 health instead. All right. Okay, sure. We'll take it. But that is Orko. What I don't know is how he's supposed to fit. Where is he supposed to fit? This is one thing that CMON does do that I appreciate, is that they look in advance and they say, all right, here's these 2 Kickstarter exclusive miniatures, but we're going to leave a space for them in one of the boxes. If you don't get them, then it's an empty space. But I'm wondering where we're going to fit Orko. But we're not going to worry about that right now. All right, up next we have our first just true expansion. So this was an add-on to the campaign, but this is essentially a 3rd faction. So we had 2 factions in the main game. This is a 3rd faction and enables you to play with 3 factions, which to me seems like the best way to play 3-player. Now the game, the map size does not support up to 4 factions. We will show a 4th, but so really you could play this game if you had one of these with 9 people. essentially everybody is controlling their own one character, and then 3 people are teamed up with 3 other people. But here we have a mission book, which is nice. Let's see if we've got some AI scenarios here. No, it does not look like there's some AI scenarios, but I'm pretty sure that they have some online. So they get their own wild dice, so that's nice. They basically just, you know, put everybody out ring squad ×9. So I'm not quite sure why they bothered with that, other than just to give yourself way to easily see. But I do like that there's new scenarios here. These guys are all who we expect. Fangor, I remember him. Squeeze, I think he was the one with, like, he was essentially Stretch Armstrong. Lady Slither, Rattler, yep. I remember all these guys. Cobra Khan and King Hiss. Path of Destiny. This is interesting. Okay, and some anti-movement, some tokens for them. What else we got here? The 3rd board. So we needed this so that we could play 3 players. Everybody gets their own board, I guess. Does this mean you can have a 3-person battle? I don't see how that would work. Looks like some poison tokens here. Here's their dice. Again, I really like, they could have just said, here, deal. Here's a set of dice, but they gave you your own dice. What else we got in here? They have their own henchmen, soldiers, which I guess was needed. So let's take a look at those. And then what's this? Oh, these are the tokens. These are only going to fit these, though. I wonder if they can, like, turn people to their side. And that's what you would need one of these, so. So here is, I do like the little busts. It's a nice, they're like a nice size, nice weight. They're not gonna take up a lot of space on the map. All right, so there's those. Again, I'm gonna have to look and figure out, these obviously are not gonna fit onto here. They're too small. Yeah, way too small. All right, let's take a look at these miniatures here. The last thing in this expansion is some more cards. So the Snake Men get their own unique deck, just like they get their own unique dice. I'm not 100% sure if the composition of these decks is the same, or if, you know, it would be cool if, you know, some of these extra cards were slightly different, but I'm going to guess they're probably all completely unique. There's a whole bunch of new spells here. I didn't get a close enough look at the other ones to know whether these are just repeats. Let's take a look at some of the equipment, though. Gartech vest armor, herbal kit, yeah, nothing. Horn of Evil, Wheel of Infinity. So nothing here that's like blowing me away nostalgia-wise. But so then there's this whole you know, scenario-based quest cards, Snake Men. So good, we're not going to look at those. But then we have encounters, so these can be added into the wilds. And so we have Snout Spout here, also one of my favorites. A Lizard Man, Chief Carnivus, I don't remember him. Roboto, I remember him. Mosquitor, he's from the Hordak. Snakeface, Strong Ore, and Blade. And then the rest of these are just kind of random stories. One thing I do want to point out that I think is just a really nice touch. So a lot of companies will put these kind of cards on top. It helps the people who package the games together make sure they're getting the right ones in there. But these just do one simple thing, and they have the size of the cards right here. The only thing that would make this even better is giving me the count of cards that are in this package. I can't tell you how many times that I myself and everybody else on this planet has gone searching for the proper size, sleeve size of cards once they get a game. This just gives you that information right off the bat. I think that's just a really nice, super simple touch. Alrighty, the last thing we have to unbox here is the Spell of Separation expansion. So this is adding technically a 4th faction to the game. Just another reminder, you can only play up to 3 factions, at least at this point, but this is the Evil Horde. This is Hordak. Super excited about this because I honestly loved the She-Ra cartoons as much as I loved the He-Man cartoons. I loved all these characters. She-Ra's in the game. She's in the core box, but none of the other, you know, Mermista and I can't remember anybody else for some reason. But so we've got the bad guys. So where are the good guys? Would they be Masters of the Universe faction? Would they just be piled in with the good guy faction, or would they get their own? You know, then they might have to create all new cards. So, but I would love to see like a Swiftwind model. I'd also love to see a Battle Cat model too. All right, so we've got Hordak, of course, Grizzlor, aka Beastman, Leech, Shadow Weaver, aka Evil Lyn, Scorpia, aka Trapjaw, and Catra. Yeah, okay. And so there's 2 of these here, Path of Destiny cards, that they're different. So that's interesting. Another board. So you don't have to pick up Snake Men in order to get that 3rd board. You can just pick up Hordak expansion and get that 3rd board. But now I have 4. I don't know what the point is of all of them. And there's even a 3rd one of these. Interesting. And this also appears to be maybe a new unique weapon type. No, because they're the same. But I just noticed something. This is the first person I've seen. I haven't really been paying super attention, but she can actually choose from 3 weapons, which is cool. They have their own dice. I love that. They've got a whole even beefier set of these tokens. Again, I need to figure out what these tokens are for. These little bases, and they fit, I'm pretty sure. Let's check. Let's just double check, because we know that they're too small for the main miniatures here. So let's see. Here's just a quick look at what the Hordak miniatures look like. They're the Hordak Stormtroopers. And these, yes, just fit right there like that. So there must be some reason that they gave us all of these. I'll figure it out. Don't you worry. I feel like they're doing really good with their inserts as well. Like, I'll probably just take those out of the bag. But here's a slot for obviously these cards. Here's a slot for the 5 tokens they gave us. Let me just show you how all of this essentially fits in here real quick. That's overkill, obviously, but all of these boards that are these same punch-out size, they're all going to fit right here. Look at that. Now this one sits a little higher than the rest, which is interesting. There's almost too many in here with this extra one. But there's technically not a place for this, but this is sticking up. But once you stick that back on there, you just put all the flat stuff on top, and we're good to go. So Decent inserts. I'm okay with the inserts. Not the worst things in the world. Miniatures, cards, done. And as we've seen before, pretty much the same kind of set of additional cards. So, whole bunch of spells. Remember, these are kind of one-off things. So, there's probably going to be a lot of them. Hordak gets their own combat deck. Spell of Separation. These are, scenario cards we're not going to look at. They do have some nice vehicles here. So, we've got the Crawler, the Solar Sailor, and that's it for vehicles. Loaf of bread. So yeah, I'm wondering if all of the net, I do remember the net. I'm wondering if all of these have appeared in the cartoons at some point or another. And then last but not least, we have some more of the allies, the Comet Warriors. These guys had names. I can't remember what they are now. Horde Wraith. Skelcon. I remember Skelcons were, there's lots of them. Webster, all right. Octavia, don't remember her. Jitsu, yeah. Sky Clone, oh yeah. Gwildor, I'm going to talk about Gwildor here in a second. Extendar, yep. Dragstore, and Ceratus. So everybody thought that Gwildor was the Orko in the live-action movie Masters of the Universe, starring our wonderful Russian Drago. But Gwildor was actually, again, similar to the hero. He was going to be introduced as a new character in season 3, and so that's why they put him in the movie as opposed to Orko, because they wanted to sell toys. But then the toy line and the cartoon and everything fell, flat and got canceled. They still kept him in the movie. But that's why Gwildor is in the movie and not Orko. So that's going to do it, ladies and gentlemen, for our Masters of the Universe Fields of Eternia unboxing. Please remember, this is a European release only. So the only way to get this right now is on the secondhand market, eBay, Board Game Geek Marketplace, things like that. That's how I acquired mine. This is not a review copy or anything like that. I paid good money for this. But more videos to come, especially a comparison video, to the best of my knowledge, on how this compares to Clash for Eternia, the CMON version. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. Once again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.